Section 2. You will hear a radio announcer describing a city in New Zealand called Gisborne.
Greetings all you listeners out there. This is National Radio and I'm Kevin Lowe. This morning I'm going to tell you what's so special about the laid-back city of Gisborne. You'll hear a little bit about its past in the old days and a lot about what attractions it has to offer foreign and domestic visitors today. So listen up to learn more about what there is to do in this city and its surrounding region, where the economy is booming, but the lifestyle remains unspoiled. The Gisborne region is where the legendary canoe, sailed by Maori explorers, first landed in New Zealand about 1400 years ago, after its long and risky voyage over the sea. It is also the easternmost point of the country, which is what inspired its original name, Te Tairawhiti, which in the Maori language means the coast where the sun rises across the waters. Gisborne was also the place where the European explorer Captain Cook first landed his boat upon discovering New Zealand, all the way from England back in 1769. Even in those early days, this district was a centre of horticulture, thanks to its fertile soil and subtropical climate. Soon after that, of course, the English settlers arrived, and soon Gisborne was shipping its products to larger settlements, such as Auckland and Wellington. This began with maize and root crops, but quickly expanded to butter, meat and wool from the agricultural settlements in the rich pastoral country near the famous Poverty Bay. Wharves and jetties were built beside the sea to service the coastal traders. Many of these wooden structures can still be seen on Gisborne beaches today. Today, Gisborne continues to export fresh produce to other regions of New Zealand. These wares include various award-winning cheeses, and of course, the delicious lobsters and snapper fish harvested by hand from the local reefs and waters. As for exports to Asian markets, there's an increasing demand for the region's oranges and lemons. Gisborne is also becoming well known nationally and internationally as the source of some top-quality white and red grapes. Now, what's on in Gisborne? Well, first up, there's the annual Gisborne concert held every summertime. This is a great experience. It's held at Waiahikia Vineyard, which is near the traditional Maori meeting house, or marae of the same name. They bring in a piano player and opera singers who perform on a purpose-built stage in a kind of natural amphitheatre in the middle of the rows of grapes. It's a fantastic concert-like atmosphere, a really good night out. What to do on a rainy day? I'd suggest a visit to the show called The Beach, which is on in Gallery 1 at Tairawhiti Museum. It's a big display, so it also takes up the hall next to Gallery 1, and it's divided into different sections of the local culture, like surfing, camping, fashion, and so on. If you buy the book of the exhibition, there are some interesting photographs in there. There's a lot else to see in Gisborne as well. You shouldn't miss the Hot Springs Reserve, which has warm natural mineral pools and little houses where you can stay amongst the bush. Being very secluded and private, this resort is most favoured by newlyweds, who often book a cabin for their honeymoon. The water is very therapeutic too. It's apparently good for your health to bathe there, though not recommended for pregnant women or the elderly. Around the corner is Mahia Peninsula, legendary as a New Year's Eve party destination for large crowds of university students after their graduation. The surfing and fishing here is excellent, and it's a safe spot for swimming and diving too. Now, also good for kids is taking a raft or jet boat ride on the Motu River. This sounds quite wild, doesn't it? But in fact, this activity is often used by local primary schools who take big groups of young children, several classes at a time, out here for a bit of fun while they're on their school camp. No parents required. You can have some time out, as this activity is a lot safer than it sounds and is carefully supervised by the rafting company. Finally, don't let's forget the Eden Woodlands Park, which is really a huge tree nursery. You can walk for hours here in the peaceful green surroundings, along a variety of tracks. There's even a very nice walkway made wide enough for those in wheelchairs, so that everyone can go along and enjoy Mother Nature at her best.
Section 2. You will hear the manager of a new sports center talking to potential customers about the facilities there.
Good evening and welcome to Carrara's brand new Sports and Leisure Centre. First, I'll tell you about our facilities, then feel free to wander around the centre. Now, as you can see from the map I've given you, we're sitting in our cafe, which we hope will be a favourite place to visit after exercising. To one side of us and right in front of you as you enter the complex is the shop. Be sure to have a look in there later as we've got some great opening specials on footwear. On the other side of the cafe, and ideally situated between the cafe and the childminding facilities, we have the playground. You can sit and relax there while your kids have a great time on the equipment. And our childcare facilities are available to anyone using the centre. Let's talk a little bit about our heated swimming pool, which is also near the entrance, on the other side from the cafe. It has a 5-metre water slide, which will be very popular with kids of all ages, and in the corner, nearest the changing rooms, we have a high-tech hot spa. The water is heated to 38 degrees centigrade, which is the ideal temperature to relax tired muscles after a workout. So, where can you do these workouts? Well, we have a large weights room located at the cafe end of the administration block. In the weights room, you'll find all the latest equipment. We also have trainers there who can put a program together for you. Another place to get a good workout is in the gym, which is shown on the map to the right of the changing rooms. There will be all sorts of classes offered there. Our aim is to provide all your exercise and recovery needs. So, as well as the spa to help aching bodies, we also have a special area for massage. It's in the funny-shaped room close to the administration area. Its distinctive shape has already led to the nickname of the Bullet Room. We'll be offering Swedish and Chinese massage there, and we'll offer physiotherapy in the future. Now, let me tell you something about our different memberships. Firstly, we offer different types of membership to cater for different needs. If you are a fitness freak, then choose our all-in membership. This gives you access to everything in the centre, all the classes and sports. It's usually our most expensive option, but for a short time, we're offering 12 months for the price of 9, which is a huge saving. If you prefer just the gym classes, you may want to consider the gym and weights package. It works out at $10 a week, which is good value. If you just want to swim, then we recommend getting a Swim Plus membership. With this, you have unlimited use of the pool and spa. The other package we've reduced for this month only is the off-peak. This is aimed at people who are happy to come at less busy times. And finally, we have the family pack. We believe in keeping the whole family fit and healthy, so this package works out cheaper than buying it separately. Your flyer has details of all the prices. So, anyone who signs up for a new membership tonight will receive 2 fantastic presents from us. We wanted to make these rewards something different from the norm. We could have just chosen a towel for you to use in the gym or some clothing from the shop, but we wanted to show our appreciation by giving you something special. So not only are we going to give you a voucher for a session in our massage centre, a great way to unwind after your workout, but you'll also get this great device that measures your heart rate. And finally, just for turning up tonight, we'd like to give everyone here a drink bottle to take away with them. That's all I wanted to say.
Section 2. You will hear an audio guide introducing visitors to a museum.
Welcome to the Global Museum, located at the heart of this truly multicultural city, which is home to more than 60 different nationalities. The museum has a number of exciting displays and exhibitions, and this audio guide is designed to help you make the most of your visit. Altogether, the museum has 18 different galleries, and this season sees the opening of 3 new exhibitions. We recommend that you begin your tour by visiting this season's highlights. The Heritage Clothes exhibition is located in Gallery 5 of the museum. People who live in the area have spent 2 years preparing this exhibition, which brings together some of the fascinating garments traditionally worn in their own communities. They research the history of their community's clothing traditions and the customs and rituals associated with them. Altogether, 16 countries are represented, from Ghana to Korea, from Turkey to Nepal. The photographs that accompany each display case were taken by some of the City College students who are studying design and show the clothes being modelled by the real people who wear them in the course of their everyday lives. Another highlight this season is the exhibition called Toys from the Past, which can be found in Gallery 9. This exhibition, which will appeal to people of all ages, is on tour throughout the country and will be here for 10 weeks only. The exhibits include dolls made over 100 years ago with beautiful porcelain faces and, in some cases, real hair. The collection covers the favourite toys such as wooden train sets from many different generations and provides plenty of interest for children and adults. The gigantic board games, which are laid out on the gallery floor, are one of the most popular activities in the exhibition and should not be missed. This exhibition concludes with a special display of miniature toys. These small objects are on loan from countries all over the world and in some cases measure no more than a few centimetres. There's a tiny car made from matchsticks, a toy aeroplane complete with pilot and passengers made out of seashells, and some exquisite little buildings no higher than 4 centimetres. The final gallery highlight of the season is the Biscuit Gallery, at number 15. Many years ago, this city was famous for its biscuits, although today the factory no longer exists. Did you know, for example, that before biscuits were packed in paper or cardboard boxes, biscuit tins were fashion items? The factory made tins, round, square, triangular, hexagonal, for a whole range of different occasions, to celebrate national events, festivals, famous faces and so on. One fascinating display deals with people's favourite biscuits. There are sweet biscuits and savoury ones, biscuits filled with jam and biscuits filled with currants, biscuits with pink, yellow and white sugar icing, or coloured sugar flowers. When the factory finally closed, it announced that people's favourite biscuit was not, as you might expect, a chocolate biscuit or one filled with jam and cream, but a plain, savoury one which was eaten with cheese. When you get to the end of the exhibition, there's an entertaining hands-on activity to fill your own biscuit tin. All the biscuits ever produced by the company are piled up on a table along with various tins. The biscuits are made out of thin pieces of wood, but the weight, colours and shapes replicate the original biscuits. Your job is to fill a tin with biscuits so that when the lid is taken off, they sit there as neatly as they did when the job was done by machine. It's not as easy as it looks. If you would like to buy a memento of your visit, there is a museum gift shop selling postcards, souvenirs and handmade pottery next to the information desk on the ground floor. And finally, if you don't want to carry your coats and bags around with you during your visit, please make use of the free lockers provided by the museum. Enjoy your visit.
Section 2. You will hear a woman talking on a radio program about a festival that is about to take place.
I have in the studio with me Mary Smith from Yorktown Tourism, who is here to tell us about some of the events happening in our state capital over the next 3 weeks at the Spring Festival. So, Mary, what can we expect to see?
Well, it's such an exciting time to be in Yorktown. To kick off the Spring Festival, there'll be a huge firework display down by the lake, starting at 9 p.m. this Saturday, the 4th of September. Over 10,000 fireworks will be set off, all choreographed to music and broadcast simultaneously here on Radio Yorkie. You should get there early if you want to get close to the action. So, bring along a picnic and a blanket, as it could get chilly in the evening. One of the things that attracts visitors to the festival from all over the country is the amazing collection of flowers on show in Central Park throughout the festival. Special buses will run from the town centre to the show at 20-minute intervals for those of you who prefer to take public transport. If you're interested in seeing the latest in cars, from the fastest to the most expensive, then head over to the motor show at the Exhibition Centre from the 10th to the 15th of September. It'll be open daily from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m, so you can even pop there after work. Do you like photography? Then go along to Grow Your Imagination, an exhibition of photographs of famous gardens, which will be held at the Art Gallery from the 11th to the 19th of September. Come and be inspired by some of the world's most beautiful gardens. I've had a sneak preview of some of the photographs, and they are magnificent. If music is more your scene, then you should come and hear the Australian Philharmonic Orchestra performing Swing in Spring at the Concert Hall on Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th of September. It's a celebration of dance music from the 1940s and 50s. There'll be 3 performances. Both evenings start at 7 p.m. and a matinee performance at 2:30 on the Saturday. So, get your dancing shoes on and head there. It's guaranteed to get your feet tapping. Those are just a few of the attractions on offer. But for something a little different, you could try Balloons Down Under, which is the largest gathering of hot air balloons in the Southern Hemisphere. It's well worth it, because there'll be over 25 balloons of all shapes and sizes, which is a truly amazing sight. I'm also happy to announce that one lucky person will get the chance to go up in one of these balloons absolutely free. That's the prize in our special Spring Festival competition. It'd normally cost you $200, so it's not a bad prize, eh? I'm sure you all want a chance to win, so you'll need to fill out the entry form in today's edition of the Yorktown News. Don't forget to include your phone number and send it to Radio Yorkie. Make sure your entry reaches us by 5 p.m. on Thursday the 9th of September. Then, to see if you've won, just check out the festival's website on Saturday the 11th of September, where we'll publish the name of the lucky winner. It's such a fantastic prize, so hurry up and get your entry in. So there you have it. Just a few of the special events happening here in Yorktown over the Spring Festival. And if you'd like any more details about the festival...
Section 2. You will hear a talk by the organizer of an information day about training courses for workers in hotels, restaurants, and other parts of the hospitality industry.
Morning, everyone. My name is John. I've worked in the hospitality industry for 20 years, here and all around the world. I've done it all. Washing dishes in cafes, waiting tables, hotel work. I've been better at some of these roles than others, to be honest, but what I've always loved is the incredible variety of workmates I've had over the years. Today, I want to introduce some of the training courses available here at the college. So, today's program. This morning, there will be short presentations about different hospitality jobs. Then, this afternoon, there'll be workshops where you can explore these ideas in more detail. So, your first presentation is on restaurant service. Another session focuses on kitchen assistants who help the cooks in the kitchen. This is a great way to learning cooking skills. There's an amazing number of traditional techniques to learn. You'd be surprised how many top chefs in expensive restaurants started out as a kitchen assistant. But be warned, kitchen assistants arrive at work first and leave last, so think hard about whether you can cope with the commitment. The session about porters, cleaners, and dishwashers is a popular one. These positions are good for students especially because they require no experience. Dishwashers have to work late into the evening. No surprises there. A porter's role is more important than many people realize because guests' first impression are formed by the staff they meet on arrival. Cleaners will usually be doing shift work, which may or may not suit you depending on your situation. Another popular session looks at the role of the receptionist. This is a key role. You have to deal with every part of the hotel. So, having reception work on your CV or resume is often a good way of moving your career forward in the long run. But having said that, they can be challenging, you know, dealing with people from all around the world. You have to already be good at working under a lot of pressure. You can't work out how to do it on the job. For any of these jobs, you'll usually have an interview. So there's also a session on interview skills. Now, frankly, for the less skilled roles, the interview will be pretty quick. But for some of the jobs I've mentioned, the interview is just as important as it is in other types of employment. Basically, the key to coming across well is the same today as it was when I started 20 years ago. And the good thing is, it's not too difficult to develop these skills with a little training and rehearsal. Okay, then this afternoon we'll have the workshops. They'll be held in various classrooms around the college. So if you have a look at your college plan, I'll tell you where they're going to be. Now, at the moment, we're in the hall. You'll see it at the bottom of your plan. So if you want to go to the workshop on restaurant service, go out of the hall and turn right. Walk along to the office, and it's the classroom immediately next door to that. For kitchen hands, when you come out of the hall, you'll see the square in front of you. Cross to the other side of the square, and you'll see a block of 2 classrooms. You want the one on the left. Now, porters, cleaners, and dishwashers. You want to find a block of classes on the northern side of the college. There's a long block of classrooms, and you want the one at the eastern end. For the receptionist workshop, turn right out of the hall and go past the office. Then head up north between the two sets of classrooms. You'll come to the first in room on your left, and it's the classroom directly opposite that. For those of you who are wanting to brush up on your interview skills, there's an interview skills workshop. You see that on the western side of the square, there's a single large classroom. That's in there. Okay, now let's move on to look at
Section 2. You will hear a radio program about singing in a choir. And for our regular spot on things to do in town, here's our reporter Samuel Cooper. It's been fun to write about joining some of our local choirs.
Thank you. Well, feeling a bit apprehensive about my ability to sing in tune, I recently headed off for rehearsals at the town's three biggest choirs: Mitchell's Town Choir, the Black Bell Male Voice Choir, and the Caroline Singers. I received a very warm welcome at all three choirs. They are always on the lookout for new and enthusiastic singers. Now, obviously deciding which choir to join will depend to some extent on your taste in music. Black Bell caters for most musical taste, as it has a hugely varied repertoire, as does Mitchellstown. If you're after a more classical feel, the Caroline Singers tend to focus on madrigals. That's unaccompanied singing without any instruments. If you want to meet people who share an interest in music, Mitchell's Town Choir is a good place to start. Apart from their own performances, they also arrange group visits to see operas and attend music festivals. So it can be a great way to make friends. But it's not just a chance to develop a skill, travel, or make friends that's on offer. You could win a gold medal, too. Mitchellstown are hoping to get to the final at the Melody competition in Atlanta. And Black Bell are the current holders of the Countermale Voice Choir Award, which was presented to them by the director of the London Opera just last month. You can also be a part of a recording deal. Mitchellstown has just joined Black Bell and Caroline Singers as recording artists for their first CD, due in shops in December. And if all of that isn't enough, you can also benefit the local community by helping to raise funds for good causes. Mitchellstown regularly performs at functions helping the disabled and the elderly, while Black Bell donates a percentage of its profits to certain local charities. You may feel unable to join a choir because you're worried you'd struggle to find the time to attend rehearsals because of work or family commitments. Well, there is a solution to that. Start your own choir at work. This has been done in companies large and small, and I went to find out about the one at the accountant's John White. The choir's organizer, Elizabeth Arnold, told me the reason she thinks people like the choir. She said that while the thought of a big networking opportunities might be at the back of some people's mind, it's having the opportunity to switch off and focus on something completely different, that they're after. The people that join tend to be fairly competent singers to start with because, naturally enough, people don't want to look bad in front of their colleagues. Companies like John White encourage their employees to set up choirs at work because it can help to create a healthier working atmosphere. For example, people who previously didn't get on can find they have something in common, which is just common sense, really. Elizabeth Arnold also stresses that you don't need a lot of people to get the choir off the ground. They started off 4 years ago with just 5 people. That's now risen to 19, while their average attendance at rehearsals is 12. Many people don't have time to go to rehearsals outside work. However, they find the time to go to them while they're at work. At John White, they found the middle of the day works best because not everyone works the same hours. So, scheduling early morning rehearsals can be problematic. The same is true for late afternoon. Supporting their choir is something that John White are very happy to do. Although members pay a joining fee to cover the cost of refreshments at parties and wear special concert shirts, the company organizes regular sessions with a professional vocal coach free of charge to members of the choir. So, if you'd like more information about the choirs,
Part 2. You will hear a radio program in which a man called Stephen talks about an organization called Extrahands.com.
Stephen Jennings has been involved with an intriguing organization called Extrahands.com. I'll let him explain.
Thanks. Yes, Extrahands.com was started 15 years ago by two New Zealanders who'd bought an old farm building and some land. They wanted to go organic, but they realized they'd need help clearing the fields for cultivation, and they just didn't have the money to pay for it. But they knew lots of people wanted to visit New Zealand. So they set up a website and advertised for volunteers to come and help on the farm there. Anyway, they got lots of volunteers, and they got their farm going, and Extrahands.com was born. Today, the organization matches people who need help with people who are willing to work as a way of seeing the world. You can either be a host if you need assistance, or a volunteer if you're offering to work. In either case, to become a member, you just fill out a form on the Extrahands.com website and pay the $25 subscription. You only have to do that once. But for your membership to stay active, every 12 months you have to go back to the website and check the details on your form there, adding information about any help you requested or work you did over that period. So how does it work? Well, if a host has some work that needs to be done, he or she goes to the Extrahands.com website and posts a description of the work. So the way most volunteers access these details on the website is by specifying the country or region they're interested in working in, but a few search according to how long they want to work for. Not many people have strong feelings about what sort of work they want to do. They're mostly fairly open about it. If you're interested in volunteering for a particular job, you can email your host to arrange the dates and establish things like accommodation and hours of work. It's all fairly informal. There are no legal documents or anything like that. But you do both need to have some sort of written record of what's been agreed before you actually arrive. What about problems? Well, there are too many members for the organization to be able to investigate them all. But there's an online message board where members can post details of any difficulties they've had, things like unsatisfactory accommodation or volunteers who haven't done the work agreed, and this works very well.
I know you've personally had lots of Extrahands.com placements, Stephen. Tell us about them.
Well, my first placement was in Portugal, where I helped a local guy with a guidebook he'd written in English. I read what he'd written and corrected the English and made some suggestions for improving it. I was very pleased with it when I finished, and I learned lots about the country. The next placement was on the other side of the world, in Australia. I was on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and since I'm pretty good in the kitchen, they had me fixing meals for 30 sheep shearers. I stayed 2 months, and it was a lot of fun, but I can tell you I was glad to get back home to California and just lie on a beach and relax. Okay, then, after a well-deserved rest, I did a job in South Korea for a small company that wanted an English speaker to show visiting Americans around. They gave me some books to read, and I learned as I worked, I loved it, and I developed a real taste for Korean food. My most difficult job was for an older lady in the USA. She had a gigantic house and grounds, but she couldn't maintain them all herself. So I worked for her, digging and planting flowers and stuff around her swimming pool. And she grew tons of vegetables, too. She was nice, but she fed me hot dogs morning, noon, and night. Now, my most recent placement was last summer in Italy. I helped a family add a room onto their house. I didn't speak Italian or know the first thing about building, but the husband had an English-Italian phrase book, and together with sign language showed me exactly what to do. And the wife's cooking was out of this world.
Thanks, Stephen. And if you want more information about...
Section 2. You will hear a company manager talking to staff about procedures to follow if a fire breaks out at work.
Hello, and thanks to everyone for being on time. The meeting will be fairly short and we'll only be looking at fire procedures. I had a similar meeting with the senior fire officers earlier today, but you're all here because you've volunteered to act as fire wardens for your own particular department. And for some of you, this will be your first time in the role, although you'll probably have taken part in several fire drills since you've been here. But now the construction work is finished and we have a couple of new corridors and stairways, we need the meeting to update everyone. And before I forget, you might have noticed a bit of upgrading last week. The handheld fire extinguishers, the standard ones on the wall, the report says they're all working well, as is the overhead sprinkler system. But the old alarm system has been replaced and should be a lot more reliable. Anyway, as fire wardens, you have a number of responsibilities. OK, those wardens responsible for the factory buildings, you'll remember we had a minor fire back in January. Luckily, the fire doors around the room stopped most of the smoke from getting out, but the alarm should have been pressed a lot earlier. From what I understand, staff felt somewhat reluctant to activate it themselves and were looking for someone senior. So please ensure that everyone knows it's their responsibility to take action immediately. Can you also make sure that if anyone new has been hired since then, that they've read the fire notices? And wardens for office departments, you'll also have to have a word with your staff. When the fire alarm went off in January in that minor fire, people got out of the office building pretty quickly. That was fine, but once they were out, they stood right in front of the doors. So if the fire crews had needed to access the offices, they would have been prevented. Good to see that everyone had left their bags and stuff behind, though. OK, next on the agenda. There's a few aspects of fire safety that we need to go through with all you wardens. Firstly, we want to make sure that when we have the next fire drill, there's nothing blocking the way in the escape routes. No obstacles, I mean. So please have a look at that as soon as possible. We want to be able to get outside very quickly. One thing that should definitely be on your to-do list is making sure no one's locked the fire doors and that it's easy enough to get through them. Now, you might remember that last year we had a fire officer come and visit and show us what to do if we see a colleague starting to suffer from the effects of smoke inhalation. Well, the same officer's coming back to lead another session. Another issue is how to handle the fire extinguishers. Someone from the local fire department is booked in to teach people how to do that. I think it would be a good idea if fire wardens and department staff attended those sessions. Let's see, what else is on the list? Oh yes, the evacuation points. The green area behind the main car park, the pavement on Hunter Street, and the unused area behind the factory car park. Fire wardens need to make sure all staff are familiar with these locations for evacuation, so please send out emails directly after the meeting. And the last point is to do with flammable liquids. I believe there have been a few concerns about where they were being stored in the warehouse, but that's been resolved now. However, If anyone has anything else to report, do let me know.
Part 2. You will hear a woman giving an introductory talk at a health centre open day.
Welcome everyone today to the Sway Road Health Centre's open morning. My name is Lucy and I'm a nurse based at the health centre. I'd first like to tell you a little about the health centre. We have 6 doctors who work here full-time and we are part of the district's medical services to those who live within our practice area. Currently, we have just in excess of 7,000 patients registered here. The patients are served from our centre here in Sway Road, but we also have a secondary centre in Church Road to ease congestion here and to make it easier for patients who live in that part of town. To register with us, please come during opening hours, bringing a photo ID, a proof of residence address dated within 3 months of your application, and your medical card, if you have one. If you don't, we'll ask you to fill out a registration form. We will ask for your preference for your doctor, and we will try to comply, although this is not always possible. When applying, the reception staff will ask you for your medical history, and they will also ask a nurse to take a blood sample. It's unusual that we would turn anyone down, and you can see a doctor as soon as you've registered. Your updated medical card will be posted to you as soon as possible. If you want to make an appointment with us, this should be made by telephone and not by email. We have email, but due to the large amount we receive, some do not get read fast enough, and appointments are not made in time. Calls can be made to our centre during our opening hours, which are 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 7 p.m, Monday to Friday. Between 1 and 2 p.m, the centre is closed, except for emergency calls only. We are closed on Saturdays, Sundays, and on public holidays. If you do have an emergency, we would stress that a serious one would be better served by going to hospital or by calling an ambulance. Our practice supports the training of medical students, and you might be asked whether your visit to a nurse or doctor can be done with a student present. There is no obligation for you to accept this, and the student will not be present if you prefer to have your consultation in private. Our surgery offers a complete travel service, including a full range of vaccinations. The wide diversity of destinations and the increased popularity of adventure holidays increase the risk to your health, which in turn makes the service we provide increasingly complex. Ask for a travel risk form at reception or download it from our website and hand it in to our reception as soon as you've booked your holiday. Our nurse will review the form and advise you on the vaccinations you should have. It's also a good idea to keep a vaccination card, so you have a record of what you have had over the years. Vaccinations must be paid for on the day of administration, unless you are covered by a health insurer. Finally, if you have any suggestions to improve our service, please use the suggestion box at reception. We will provide you with paper and pen if you don't have any. Also, from time to time, people feel that they have a problem with their care. If you have any complaints about the service you receive at our health centre, please bring this to the attention of the practice manager, who will be happy to discuss the issue. We have a complaints procedure that is available at reception, or it can be downloaded from our website. So, today, all our staff are here for this Saturday morning, so that you can look around the centre and ask any questions. This includes all our doctors, nurses, and support staff. All the areas are open, except for the practice offices, which have some sensitive material. You can wander around and ask anyone questions, though please remember that the doctors are not here for consultations, so please do not turn any conversations into a doctor's visit. That's enough from me. Please now look around and ask whatever questions you want. If you'd like to register today, then just go to reception and they'll get you organised. I'll be based here in the waiting room, so you can ask me any questions as well, of course.
Part 2. You will hear a supervisor at Holly's supermarket talking to a group of new employees.
Welcome to Holly's supermarket. I'm sure you'll all enjoy working in our dedicated team here. So, what will you be doing? Well, we're open Monday through Sunday, so you'll need to be able to work weekends as well as irregular weekday shifts. These sometimes start at 5 a.m. or finish at 11 p.m. Your duties will include checking and unpacking lorry deliveries, as well as working on the shop floor, stocking shelves and so on. But you'll only be required to do manual lifting if the goods are light. When the store is very busy, you'll also have to assess changing priorities. For example, if there's a queue at the tills, you'll jump on a spare one to help. If you notice something's been spilt and the surface is a little bit wet, you'll get a mop to clean it up. No need to check with the manager first. Similarly, if bakery items are selling quickly, you'll help cook some more. And if a customer can't find, say, the apples, you'll instantly leave what you're doing and show them. But you'll still get time off to relax too, of course. We pride ourselves on a positive attitude here. A little small talk shows you're interested in the customers and are providing excellent service, just as long as you don't overdo it and keep another customer waiting. And always smile. It forces you to stay positive, and being generally upbeat makes your whole team happy too. This increases efficiency and gives a good impression to customers. If it's quiet, help someone pack their bags. Customers really appreciate it, especially when they've bought more than they expected to. Staying calm's also a necessity. If a customer's unhappy for any reason, keep cool and call for a supervisor to help diffuse a situation if things are getting out of hand. Occasionally, when working tills, you'll find yourself waiting for someone to extract their wallet from the bottom of a cluttered bag, while a long queue of annoyed customers builds up. You have to make sure, however hard it might be, that you remain composed. So, now let's look at the plan of the supermarket. Have you all got your plans? OK, good. We'll start with the staff entrance. Today you came in through the customer entrance, clearly marked on the bottom of your plan, but in future you'll enter through the door in the top left-hand corner of the diagram. Please don't confuse this with the emergency exits in the top right-hand corner and bottom left. It's very important that these are kept clear at all times. Regarding the manager's office, some of you may have attended interviews here when it was next to the newspaper and magazine sales area. However, it's recently been moved and is now the circular space marked on the right of your plans. When the manager's not on the shop floor, that's where you'll find her. The storage and unpacking area. You may be asked to help out here, both before and after opening hours. This is represented by the largest of the 4 rectangles in the top section of the plan. It tends to get very busy there at times, so please be careful on entering and leaving this area. There's a kitchen on site where food and drinks are prepared for customers. It has specialist staff, but some of you may have to fill in occasionally. On the plan, it's shown by the triangular shape to the left of the tinned goods aisle. It's very busy, as many customers like to take a break in the cafe and read a newspaper before or after doing their shopping. Cleaning equipment is stored in a cupboard. It's the smaller of the 2 squares marked near the vegetable and fruit section, and can come in very handy. You'd be surprised how often we have to mop up squashed tomatoes or grapes. Finally, you'll be pleased to know there's a separate staff relaxation area. This is at the top of your plan, between the frozen goods section and the exit. As well as comfortable chairs, there's also a microwave for heating up snacks and a drinks dispenser. So, let's go there now.